Hello, everybody, and welcome to CLCI
Welcome.
Live.
Hello.
Hello, hello. It's good to
Uh,
all be back.
so I just want to, we are doing things a little bit differently today and for the next 4 weeks. For the next 4 weeks, we are going to be doing live coaching demos. I think for the start of this, I think Jen will be coaching me for the first and the last ones. So the week 1 and week 4, and then we'll have different coaches and clients for week 2 and 3. And that's just so that we can also have an example follow-up session for everybody. But we'll be doing live coaching demos, 30 minutes sessions, and it's an opportunity for us to sort of show what coaching is. And so because of that, we are going to do things just a little differently. We still want you to comment. We still want you to like. We still want you to share. We still want you to do all those things. But we just won't be showing any of the comments until the coaching session is done. The coaching session will be uninterrupted by anybody, so that way it feels like a coaching session in which people are not watching and without distraction. So that is what's going to be happening. Did I miss anything in that? No.
No, that should be it.
This is an example of like what I'm just double checking. I heard a ding, so so this is I'm just double check, or I just want to mention that this is going to be what an ICF accredited, an example of ICF accredited coaching and that specific coaching model. And so that I think is all. Thank you guys for watching. And Jen and I are going to be the ones that are coaching. She's coaching me today. So
I've coached live on here before, but I think it was only like 15 minutes. So this will be good. We'll get a longer session today.
As well, are we focusing on a specific level of coaching that the ICF expects, or is this more like general coaching?
It'll be somewhere between ACC and PCC. I'm sure I'm around there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be client-led, so the client will sort of dictate the flow and where it goes. So if you're watching this in the future, don't come in this expecting this ought to be what an ACC or PCC looks like. It won't be so neat. It'll be whatever the client needs.
And Jen is a PCC, and I know that I benefit from that level of coaching. So if we get into PCC spaces, it'll just be something that we cover later and mention later, that is a moment when it was maybe this was a PCC moment as opposed to an ACC moment. So we're not holding Jen to having to be in one specific space or the other. Whatever happens organically.
What?
All right, sounds good. I am going to mute myself.
And turn off the camera. So you guys go away.
So this is interesting because I'm used to only seeing the client when I coach, and right now I have a visual of myself. So that's strange.
You want to change the view? Like we can change the view like to this. Wait, but it would we could do like, well, obviously not that, but like make you smaller.
Yes, but I think maybe for the viewers, they're going to want to see both of us at the same time, same size. So let's cater to that. Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah,
giving us options.
Fine. It's just I just made a note that it's an adjustment for me. So
yeah.
Okay. So before we begin, Brooke, is there anything that you need to do or say or confirm before you feel ready for coaching?
No, I think I'm ready to go. Let's do it.
Okay. So what is it that you want to focus on today in our time together?
So today I want to talk about, I guess I want to talk about a journey, a place I am in my life that is new to me. So I am very newly, I think. I mean, that's the other thing. I'm not for sure, but I'm obviously perimenopausal, but I haven't had a period in a while. So now I think I am officially menopausal. And it is early onset, but there's a lot of things that come up with that. It's a big change. Like it is, I mean, it is and it isn't, but that's kind of what we're going to discuss today. So I just want to talk about this change and what it means for me. And also like there are fears and concerns that come up around this shift in my body. And so I sort of want to discuss, address those fears and concerns, and then explore if I need solutions to those fears and concerns, or if they're irrational. So, yeah.
Okay. So some stuff is coming up for you around this new journey. I think you used that word, and you're wanting to explore it and just check in on the fears and concerns and potentially strategize at the end. Is that it?
I mean, yeah, it's all around, of course, being in menopause and like what that means for me as a person who's very physical. Like I'm a very athletic person, and I my cat is coming over to say hello. And that because of that, like building muscle, maintaining muscle, being able to do things like hold my body weight in the air, and wanting to improve in these very physical activities that I do. And so there's a lot of stuff that comes up around knowing, because because I'm also a fitness instructor, I know what this shift can do to somebody's body. And so there's like a lot of fear that comes up around it because I want to still be able to do these things that I love. And so I think ultimately at the end of this, I'd like to come away with it knowing that I have a plan to make sure I can keep doing the things that I love, and keep improving at them. I guess it's the bar is higher than just being able to do them. I want to be able to keep improving in my skill set, and not like hit a wall where I can't keep getting better at these very physical things that I do. Yeah.
So why now? What's making this topic feeling important to explore today?
Well, because I stopped having my period. So, I mean, it's like there's no avoiding it now. Like up to this point, like it's been like it's coming at some point, but now, okay, it's here. It's arrived, at least potentially, unless something else is going on. I do have a doctor's appointment, but regardless, this is going to come sooner or later. And so obviously something is going on with me hormonally, and it probably is menopause and menopause related. So that's why, essentially, because it gave me no choice. It's like, here it is. It's not like if I was given a choice, I don't know what I would do. I don't know if I would put it off or invite it in, but yeah. So it is one of those things where it found me.
Okay. So you're wanting to it sounds like not just maintain, but continue to improve on the physicality of what you are already doing. Is that accurate?
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
With our time today, what are you wanting to walk away with after this conversation?
I think what I want to walk away with is, it's not like a list, but I want to verbalize the fears that I have. I want to verbalize the fears that I have around what I know, and maybe even around what I don't know, and then address each of those fears, and then have like a plan of like how to handle that, or how to combat it, or how, you know what I mean? So like if, for example, if my fear is that I'm worried I'm going to have a hard time continuing to build muscle, because I know that is part of what comes with being in menopause, is it's harder for us to build and maintain muscle as women. So what is my plan? Because there are ways to fix, like to combat that. And so I want to have a plan in place for, okay, this is what I'm going to do to make sure I can continue to build muscle, and I'm not going to feel like I'm sliding backwards. And so with each of those fears that comes up, I'd like a solution, or if it's required. Some things might be irrational, and so that's what verbalizing the fears will do for me. So yeah.
So I'm hearing verbalizing the fears about what you know and what you don't know, and then having a plan on how to handle that.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And so how will we know that we've been successful in that conversation?
I will feel like I'll feel like I've discussed all the things that are coming up for me, and discuss them in a way that I now have a plan of action around what is coming up, instead of it just being like on a cycle in my head. It'll, like if it's in a cycle in my head, there's not a solution. So I just think about it and maybe think about some solutions, but I don't have a definitive plan for addressing anything at this moment. So, and some stuff is I know irrational. So I need to get it out there and sort of know that it is, and say these are the reasons why. And so I can set that thought aside and get it off the mental hamster wheel, I guess.
So by the end of the conversation, if you feel like we've addressed the fears and potentially created some plans for it, if you feel that that has happened, we will be successful.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So where do we begin?
I think we begin with like the things that are coming up around this topic of me being in menopause. And there's definitely like a big one that I'm most insecure about. And it's all, I mean, there's a few big ones, but there's the one that like I have the most insecurity around. And I also is also probably the most irrational. So I guess we can start with that one. And that's this knowing that there's a chance of like weight gain and like visceral fat gain, and things that, like when we stop producing certain hormones, that tends to happen to a female body. Not every female body, but it can be a side effect of menopause. And this is the most for me, like there's two things that comes up in this for me. One is the ego, the like shallower side, where I'm like, well, I don't want to look, I do models, I do burlesque, and I would like to look fit, and but at the same time, that is kind of more easily dealt with, because I do think I can love myself even if I have extra weight on me. But the flip side of that is every pound I gain is a pound I have to lift, because I do aerial and I do pole, which means I have to physically lift and hold my body weight in the air. And so every pound I gain is a pound that I have to be capable of holding up in the air for a given amount of time. So like that's like the technical logical side of it. There is a solution for that too at the end of the day, though. So, but the one that gets me is, of course, that because of my previous, like being heavier before, and having a lot of insecurity around my body, and having disordered eating and all of these things that I've had in the past, that like is the first thing that comes up, right? But I also have tools in place to go, okay, you can shut that part of your brain off, but it's definitely louder than I want it to be right now. So I think I need like reminders about that like my body is beautiful, and that as long as it's capable of doing what I need it to do, how it looks is secondary, right? Like that's secondary to being able to do what I want with it. And I love seeing women of all sizes being represented in aerial and pole. And so I love that. Like it brings me joy to bring people, women who are all shapes and sizes into that world, and teach them. And so that part is really special. And so however I look, I get to represent that body type to somebody else that maybe has that body type and show them they're capable too. So that's why I'm like, I know I can love myself in whatever shape, like, form I'm in at that moment.
Can I pause you for a second? Would that be okay? What's the emotion that's coming forward?
Oh, goodness. I mean, I think it's the emotion that always comes up when I'm talking about body weight and like the shape of my body. It's a vulnerable space for me. It's one of those things where it's been a lifelong journey of learning to accept myself. And so the tears aren't bad. Like the tears, like I don't like I've had racking tears in coaching sessions. I don't know. Am I feeling disconnected from my emotion right now? Because it's like I can't think of like a really solid reason. They're just coming up, and I think it's because I feel vulnerable. Honestly, I think it's something that comes up because this is a very vulnerable topic for me when it comes to like discussing my weight. There's a feeling of fear around it and a fear of like judgment. And feeling judged because I used to be heavy and I used to be a big girl. And I used to think all the things I can do now weren't possible for me to do in my body. So I think it's like a little bit of fear and vulnerability is what is coming up. Yeah.
What are you noticing since you've started sharing?
Well, it's funny because I feel like I am still in my head a bit with all of this, even though emotions are coming forward. Like I still feel like the analytical brain is still leading. And I have like the emotional brain coming out, and I feel the emotional side coming out, and I feel a little detached from the emotion, which is interesting. But I'm also accepting of the emotion. Like it's okay. I mean, I'm crying. It's okay. It's just something that's happening. And I don't have a judgment around it, I guess. It feels like I'm crying a little less now, and that's fine. But I feel like I'm just going to cry because when I'm vulnerable, I cry. Just part of being vulnerable for me.
Sounds like self-acceptance.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Which is what my whole life has been, right? A journey of learning to accept myself, and which allows me to accept others. So yeah.
What's left on this portion of the exploration?
So the other part of it is, since my period has stopped, I have gained 5 pounds, and I have coached on this topic before. And that 5 pounds is sitting there and it's not going anywhere. But this is irrational. This is one of those fears that I know is irrational for many reasons. But I think I just need to like say out loud to myself why it is irrational and why I need to like get over that. Like get over it, Brooke. It's fine. And it's irrational for many reasons. Because one, I'm very deliberately trying to put muscle on right now. And in order to put on muscle, I got to eat more. I just do. And I have to be okay with gaining weight. It's also irrational because I know I'm capable, if I really want to, of losing that 5 pounds. But I have been enjoying chocolate and sweets and things like that. And I kind of don't want to feel bad about that. Like I'm done with feeling guilty about the food I eat. And like the food I have eaten. Like I'm done with that. So I can just let that go and be okay with it. And so like there's this like hyper rational side of me that goes, I wish there was a way for me just to know if it is fat or if it is muscle, right? And I have this discussion in my head where like I wish there was like a concrete way where I could just measure, so that I had like the data. But that's silly. Like that is like moving, I think, towards a disordered eating brain, and I don't want to go there. What I need to do is just accept that this is where my body is right now, and it's okay, and I love it, and it's still doing amazing things for me. And so I think I just had to say that out loud and talk through it, just so that like I verbalize it and I can remind myself, okay, Brooke, it's okay. You're okay. You love yourself. That number isn't important at the end of the day. And you're going to love yourself regardless, like either with or without that 5 pounds. So yes.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I just heard you describe the fear of the weight gain and then describe why it's irrational to you and then what you need to do instead.
Yes, what I need to do instead. And it's funny because I have this battle in my head of going, well, Brooke, just don't stand on the scale. But I also have like, I was in a whole program around weight loss and it worked wonderfully for me. And I accredit it a great deal to where I am now. It taught me a lot. And one of the things they talk to you in that is about weight creep and about how we can like get comfortable and like not notice and that weight can like tick up. And then all of a sudden we step on the scale and we're 20 pounds heavier. And so to like have this habit of weighing yourself fairly regularly, it doesn't have to be every day, but like maybe it's once a week, maybe it's, you know what I mean? And it's actually been something that's been helpful for me because it gives me, it just like lets me know, okay, I'm right in this zone. So maybe what I need to know is like what that zone is for me before I like kind of panic, but I don't want to panic either. So like, but I feel like maybe I need to give myself grace in that space. Like I need to be like, Brooke, you don't have to be at this specific weight all the time. It's okay to fluctuate. And that fluctuation doesn't have to be 3 pounds. That fluctuation can be 10 pounds. You know what I mean? And you'll be fine. And I feel like the caveat is there, as long as I can still do what I am doing and it's not affecting my physicality, like then the number is irrelevant. I don't really give a crap about the number, honestly. As long as I can still climb and do pull-ups and do the physical things, you know, hike my legs up into the air, and I have that strength and that power to do that, then that number is really not important. But I think I worry about it because I worry I'm going to lose the ability to do that if I gain more.
So you maybe need to give yourself grace and you're still worried?
Kind of, yes. Like that's what this whole thing, I mean, this whole topic is essentially about, is there is this fear that comes up that like I'm gonna lose the ability to do these things that I love because I'm, you know, not going to be able to create muscle in my body as well because it's harder for women when they're, you know, postmenopausal. But I also know I know so many women that break that rule, right? That's not true about, right? And I know the steps and I know what I would tell my clients. And so I just have to make sure that I'm telling myself, I guess, the same thing that I tell my clients and following my own advice essentially in that space, you know, which is there's just certain steps that you do and things that you can do to make sure you can still gain muscle over the, you know, postmenopausal.
So are you saying that you can gain weight and continue to maintain the physicality you need to do what you love?
I should gain weight, honestly. Like that's the thing. And that's where like it's such a weird like disordered eating brain, right? Like I should gain, if I'm putting on muscle, I should gain weight. Like I'm supposed to gain weight as I'm putting muscle on. Like that is part of gaining muscle or gaining weight is, or part of putting on muscle is that you will gain weight. Like there is gaintaining, but I mean, that's hard to do and harder to do the more muscle you have. So, I should gain weight. I mean, really, at the end of the day, as part of this process, if I'm putting on muscle. So,
how are you feeling about what we've discussed so far?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good, but I still feel a little scatterbrained about it, about all of it, a little bit. Yeah.
So what needs to be expressed?
I feel like I have to take this and like verbalize my plan.
Okay.
Like for all this, like I feel like I've been exploring the fears part, but I need to verbalize the plan, the steps I want to take to like make sure I'm doing what I need to do to keep my body where it's at, or better, or like improved or stronger. And so I feel like just like verbalizing that plan will be good for me.
Are you ready to do that now?
Yeah, I think so.
You think so?
Yes, yes.
Okay, just checking.
So I've already kind of started this. I have to hold myself a little more accountable. But I want to be heavy lifting twice a week. So I want to like get my butt into a gym and be heavy lifting and with like specific purpose in that lifting. And it might be getting too into the minutia here, but like I want to be making sure I'm doing lat pull downs and working towards making sure I can do lat pull downs to my body weight, right? Because that's going to make sure I have the muscle I need to do a pull up and to keep my body in the air. So like if I gain weight, that's fine. And this is where it like makes me feel a little better. I'm like, that's fine. That means I just need to lift a little heavier, right? Until I get up there. As long as I can still be putting the muscle on, then I know what I have to do to build the muscle, right? I know what I have to do. And it's just getting my butt into the gym and doing that. And then if I feel like I'm hitting a wall and that muscle isn't ticking up, I think at that point is like I need to ask for help. Like at that point, then it's like I'm already kind of doing this though, just like preemptively. Like I have an appointment and I would like to start seeing a hormone specialist, and I would just like to have my hormones tested, like twice a year, just see where they're at, and then make sure that I'm getting like the right hormone therapy for where I am with regard to my hormone cycle, because I know that will help a lot with being able to build and maintain muscle. And then the other part of it is like ask for help in the sense, okay, if I'm not, then I will ask for help. Like I will ask a professional. I'll ask somebody that isn't me. Maybe I don't have the answer, and I will seek outside advice with, okay, I feel like I'm hitting a wall. What can I do in this plateau? And how have you gotten past plateaus and things like that? And there's a lot of people I can tap into for that. So I think I just have to say to myself, if that moment happens, which it hasn't happened yet, then I know that's like, okay, that's a point I want to ask for help right there. Like that's ask for help, figure out why. Don't just like get frustrated and give up and be mad at yourself. That's just like, that's an indication to ask somebody else what they think might be going on when that comes up, if and when that comes up, which it hasn't yet. So that's like one part of my plan. Make sure I'm going to the gym twice a week. Make sure in that I'm doing lat pull downs to my body weight. I am keeping strength in my legs. I'm doing all the things I need to do to maintain bone density and keep my body like healthy and happy as I age. And I do a number of other things, right? I do Pilates, but they all have different purposes, right? There's only so much pulling myself up in the air I can do before I like have to support it with weightlifting. And so like it all works together. And so I kind of have to do all of those things. I also need to make sure I'm still getting in, and this is, I've been good about this, is like taking my own Pilates, not just teaching Pilates, but also taking a class for me and doing that and making sure I continue to do that and take classes for me and my learning and not getting tired or lazy about that. But I also think I have to give myself grace if I am tired too, and not like, I think that's the other part of this that I have to build in. And wow, this is one's making me cry. is like giving myself permission to like slow down too. And like be okay with not having to be super physical sometimes, right? Being okay with like allowing my rest spaces, and in my head I'm like, well, one day's fine, but like, no, I'm allowed to rest if I need it for more than one day. Like I'm like or it maybe, and maybe it's not on purpose, maybe it's just that I'm out having fun. And I think I'm crying because I still have guilt come up around that. Like I still have guilt when I feel like I'm not working out enough, like I'm not doing enough. I guess I've tackled it in a lot of ways around my eating, but those insecurities still come up around how much I am working out and moving. Or maybe that's new. I don't know. Like, is it enough? Am I doing enough? And I guess the concept of enough comes up, and I'm just thinking about it. And there's still a feeling of guilt and insecurity around that if I'm giving myself like any length of time without being super physical. And so maybe I need to like allow myself some grace if I need to rest more, if I choose to rest more, if I decide something else is more important or more fun. I don't know. And then to not like come back or feel guilty about it, I guess.
Is there anything that we can do today to assist you with that?
It's one of those things where like I just have to like remind myself that it's okay. Like just like with food and with other things. I think what's coming up is like there's two things that are coming up. There are many times where I have felt my strongest after I've taken a period of time off. So like after I've taken 3 or 4 days off, or like a week off, which is almost unheard of in me because of how much I teach and everything. But like something will happen. I'll get sick, or I'll go out of town or something. And then I come back and it's like, wow, that was really easy. And my muscles didn't feel fatigued. And like, I was able to do that. And I didn't feel like exhausted at the end of it. So like, I think I just have to remind myself that like sometimes those rest periods are really great for my body and for coming back and feeling strong and like feeling really like, shoot, I guess my body needed that. It needed that break. It needed that time off, or I mean, okay, needed it. It was nice for my body. Like that was a nice thing, and it was a good thing for my body. It does need rest. Don't get me wrong. But like, I guess the reason I like did this was because it's just that when you come back and you're well rested, your body just is going to perform better. It just is. That is the way our bodies work. So having that rest is a good thing and not a bad thing. And I think reminding myself of that that's very helpful.
So reminding yourself that, go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm fine. Tell me.
No, finish what you were going to say.
Well, I was just going to say, I think exactly what you were going to say, what you were reflecting back to me. I was just going to say that like, just that permission and that knowledge of, hey, rest is good for me and my body is a good way for me to not feel guilty about having a break. Yeah.
How does that feel?
It feels good. It feels good because like I was going to go lift heavy at the gym yesterday and I got distracted and I didn't. And I was feeling bad about it. Even though I'm going to go on Friday. But it feels good to not have to feel guilty about that and be like, it's okay. You're fine. And there's always opportunity to go back in and do it later too. So it doesn't have to be right now and so rigid all the time.
What is left before we come into the closing portion of our session?
That's feeling good. I think I've addressed the things that are coming up. I don't think there's anything insecurity around this that I haven't discussed. I think it's important that, like, I'm just going to sort of list off, like, I know what I have done already is I have booked an appointment, and I have a plan around booking an appointment and getting my hormones tested and all of those things, which helps me. I really, talking around like the insecurities and the things that make me feel guilty was really, really helpful. And reminding myself that I don't have to, and I shouldn't feel guilty for those things. And in fact, like, they're actually good for my body too. Was really helpful. So I think that was a really good reminder. And I feel like there's not anything I'm missing or forgetting that I wanted to discuss.
So what are you walking away with?
I guess I'm walking away with like peace of mind and understanding, a better understanding of what was going on in my brain. Like, I hadn't put words to like that feeling of guilt and feeling guilty. I just knew that I felt uncomfortable. And that uncomfortable was causing panic. So I think what this has done is allowed me to sort of explore and then alleviate the stress and those sort of unnecessary and unhelpful emotions that were coming up. And I was just kind of letting take up space in my brain. So I feel a little more peaceful, a little more clarity, a little like I have a better plan. Yeah.
So how will you utilize your peace, your clarity, your new understanding? What's your next step?
I think my next step is to just like do what I'm doing, but to do it with less of the emotions that come up. And then as they come up, remind myself of what we discussed in this session. So like remind myself that rest is good when that comes up. Remind myself that I know what to do if I gain weight. I know how to build muscle, and I know where to go to get help if I feel like I am hitting a wall.
How will you remind yourself?
With my brain. The same.
Is that all you need?
Yeah. Yes. I think that's all I need. Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I'm crazy. Because I just walk around and talk to myself. And so when those things come up, I just talk to myself and I talk through it. I might look a little crazy, but that's okay.
Is there any additional support that you might need to assist you?
Well, the nice thing is all of the people that not all, but several of the people that I would care about and ask for assistance in this, or like want to verbalize this to, are watching this stream right now in the background. So I can always, rely on them and ask them for accountability and bring this up and speak to them. And so having those folks in place is very helpful for me, and a good way for me to like remind myself or have a sounding board when these things come up. So yeah, it's nice. I don't have to go tell anybody. It's already been told.
Is there anything left to express on this topic for you to feel complete today?
No, I don't think so. No, I think I'm good. I feel better. I do. So
you think you're good?
I am good. I think I'm good. The only reason I say I think is because who knows, I could be walking along and trip and something might come up around it. Like, I don't know what's out there in the world that might trigger a funny thought when it comes to this topic, because it's still new to me. But as far as like everything we can do in this session right now without external influence or, you know, new things that come up, I feel like we are in a good place here.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, I look forward to hearing how reminding yourself goes the next time we meet.
Yeah.
And that'll be in a few weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
We can bring everybody back now.
Can I just say that I'm sorry I went over, but that topic is not a topic you can do in a 20-minute exploration, you guys. Come on. That needed more time.
Went over. You deducted 10 points from your
I failed
UCC bars
the evaluation.
Yeah. And boy, were you good at allowing the client to direct the conversation at least some of the time.
Okay.
But that was mostly Brooke is just good at talking and working through things as she speaks.
Brooke is a coach, so she is easily coached. And I think that's something we need to point out is that Brooke knows what the process is. She's familiar with it. So that makes a difference. And your client, if they've never been coached before, it will take a little bit of time for them to adapt to the process and really kind of like, you know, settle into it to where they understand it and can flow like that. But it does happen.
Yeah.
Because,
watching you coach Brooke is like if Brooke wanted to get to like a destination across the country, and asking one or two questions is like giving her like a bricklaying machine or like a road making machine. And once she just starts the ignition, it just kind of does itself. You can see it in the process as she's just like laying the next steps out and just building that road for herself. It takes a little bit of just coaching, a little bit of questioning to like nudge in the directions that are helpful, and she's gone.
Yeah, she's doing the heavy lifting. I'm not.
I also think, like, at least for me, like something to notice is like when I'm coming into the coaching session, I think this is where it can be hard when you have somebody who isn't familiar with the coaching session. Like, I'm coming in with like something I want to work on. Like, I'm like, this is something that I want to like sort through that's been kind of eating at me or bothering me. And so I think that's why it's easy for me to explore it a bit, is because I'm coming in like with this, okay, I know this is bothering me. This is not. And so walking into the room with that topic, for me, at least, it's also because I just naturally kind of word vomit everything that's inside my brain. So there's less guardedness than probably a lot of people. So.
But for you know, for an amateur coach, it can be when you hear a lot. So I don't know if this was picked up, but I had to really settle in and I had to accept, okay, she has a lot that she needs to hear herself say. I don't have to do much here. I don't have to try to like figure out the details and like piece things together. Like that would be doing way too much. I needed to let you kind of pull apart your own, you know, mess of, not a mess, but you know what I mean? Like a clump of thoughts. You needed to pull them apart and see them clearly. And I just needed to allow you the space to do that.
The journey I liked, especially watching, is that that's what you did. You didn't feel like you needed to know more, because that would be fulfilling something for you, Jen, versus something for Brooke. You gave her the space. She asked for the space. I just need to, you know, verbalize this out loud. and that's what you gave her the space to do. I don't like the word allow, because coaching is not about allowing. Coaching is providing what the client asks for. And the journey through the exploration, you asked some very short, poignant or pointed questions that allowed her to evaluate what her next response was.
Also, at like no point did I feel led, and I really appreciate that. Like at no point did it feel like I was being led or pushed in a specific direction. I was just given permission to explore. And I also like that there wasn't a pushback, like when we were talking about my emotion and like why it was coming up. And like I had an answer, but not a like super clear answer. And I like that you didn't like force me, because I think if you had been like, no, I would not have been able to come up with like, oh no, this is the specific reason why, because it was just like a crying from being vulnerable, not for like, there was a genuine like, just that's all it was. So I appreciate that you weren't like, because there was like this like, oh dear, is she gonna like really dig there? Because if she does, I've got nothing for her. This is exactly how I'm feeling. So thank you for just accepting that was what was coming up for me and being like totally okay with that. I that is something I appreciated, and it made me feel safe too. So
I think competency 3 was very well attended. It was reflected on, asked into, mulled over several different ways. And so it became very clear on that focus of the session.
And it was just under 10 minutes, because I glanced at the clock when we actually finished Comp 3 and started exploring, which is pretty average, I would say, for somewhere between ACC and PCC level. PCC, you can definitely go deeper in the beginning. I definitely could have, but I just didn't think it was necessary for this moment.
Yeah, I have all the check marks for competency 3, which was like identifying the inviting the client to identify their desired outcome. Brooke answered, verbalizing fears and addressing each fear with a plan. Reach an agreement of what is in the session. That's when, Jen, you asked how will we know, and Brooke replied, a plan of action that separates rational from irrational, and then asking why this is important. So you hit all those boxes. I also noticed in the beginning, which I probably wouldn't have done, but it checks the box, and I realized, I ought to do this in coaching sessions, is checking in before the session starts. Hey, is there anything we need to go over? How are you doing before the session begins? Before we jump into coaching?
Yeah.
Or anything that we need to check in and know? That was great. It's an awesome little thing to do before the session begins, because it sets the tone for the rest of the conversation. And that's part of cultivating trust and safety.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the client may have something that little moment that you give them, oh, yep, I need to turn my phone on silent or something, and you handle it right then and there. Or maybe they want to tell you something unrelated to coaching real quick. You never know. It just gives that opportunity. And
I definitely looked up and was like, well, if there was going to be a cat that was like really close, I was going to be like, yes, let me remove that and put it somewhere else. But at that moment, there was no cat. But about 5 minutes later, there certainly was cat coming in. So,
Jerome, what are your thoughts?
I want to say that your nerves dissipated really quickly as soon as the timer started.
They did.
You locked in. I noticed that.
Yeah.
That's important, and obviously giving the client their space to go ahead and give whatever feelings they have about the session. So,
yeah, thanks for pointing that out. I actually think that's good for the
viewer. I noticed it immediately. I was a little timid. I was like, oh, is she gonna be? No, you're good.
This is such a good call out, Jerome, because the viewer doesn't know that before we hit record today, I was like, oh my gosh, I just got nervous. Now, I hadn't been nervous. All of a sudden, when I get on the stream, I get nervous. And the way I handled that was simply, oh, of course you're getting nervous. You don't coach on a live stream that often. No big deal. Like, I just accepted it, and I didn't fight it, and I allowed it, and I just took a deep breath. And like you said, I locked in. I immediately like sunk in to coach mode, and then it was just gone. But it was nerves before. And so that's very cool that you saw that shift.
Another thing I'd like to point out, which is part of maintaining presence, and it's hard to point out something that is not there, but is like good for the newer coach to like see and observe, is during that session where Brooke talked a lot, did you have any inclination to like take notes or write things down, or to Was that happening in the
Good
background
question.
at all?
Good question. So I did start with the ability to take notes, and I put down maybe 3 words in the beginning, and then I stopped because what I realized is that Brooke doesn't need me to be on her words. She just needs me to be present and fully there. And I just decided that that made the most sense, and I abandoned the note taking. And I think it was a good decision.
Yeah,
because I could have gotten lost.
I definitely noticed that because you were locked in, and I am the kind of coach, and maybe newer coaches are like that too, where they're wanting to take a lot of notes. They want to capture every single thing that the client wants to say. They want to be able to reference it verbatim, but that pulls the attention away from the client, and I did not notice that. You were fully settled into the session, listening to what Brooke was saying, and then being able to ask certain questions at the right time without having to like reference, 5 different things. So it's not entirely necessary for the new coaches to write down every little thing. As you get more experience, you're going to be a lot more comfortable with just letting the client talk and be a more natural, free-flowing conversation.
Yes, and if you are going to take notes, just like Jen said, you're just jotting words down. Nothing in any detail, just something that will trigger a memory of what was said if necessary. The idea of those detailed notes, if you want detailed notes, that's after your session's over, but never during, because that connection is the most important. For me, when I typically had taken notes, it's usually about the statistics, like if they had kids and and if they told me their names or things like that, that wasn't really relevant to the coaching session, I might write them down but for the most part, once you get in the flow of a coaching session, it's just a beautiful dance. And we saw that today. Thank you.
Brooke, how did you feel when I interrupted you? Because I think that is a question a lot of people will probably have.
Yeah, actually, I mean, I didn't feel like you interrupted me. I felt like we both kind of started talking at the same time, and I knew what you were doing, which was reflecting back. And what's funny is I wanted you to reflect back to me. Like, I wanted you to reflect the words back to me so I could hear them again. And you were like, no, you talk. And
Interesting.
I was like, okay. I have to remind myself, like, because like I knew that's what was going to happen, and that's because I'm a coach, so I knew what you were doing, and so that's why I got quiet. It's just like, oh yeah, she's going to reflect back, so I get to hear that again. I get to hear what I just said again, but then you didn't. You're like, no. And I was like, oh, okay. So then, but that just made me have to do what you were going to do, right? Like that's all it did. It was make me do that work for you, essentially. Like not for you, it was all for me at the end of the day. But I think that was like, in a way, like, because I piped up and we sort of talked at the same time, you did the right thing, right? You absolutely did the right thing.
Yielded to the client. Yep.
But because I'm a coach and I knew what was coming, I was like, oh, she's going to reflect back. I can just sit back and relax for a second. And no, you didn't let me relax for a second. And that's okay, right? That's what I was there for. And so, but it was definitely one of those moments where I knew, like in my coach brain, I knew like, this is what she was about to. And that's why I was like, no, you. And you're like, no, you. And I was like, oh, okay. And so it was funny because it was like me, like, liking for that I got to be lazy for a second and listen to what you were saying. But then I was like, okay, but I can do that too. I don't need her to do that. I can self-reflect as well. So yeah.
So that's my habit of always yielding to the client when we both start talking. Immediately, I want the client to know that they are the most important, and what I have is second to that. So,
and I'm sure I could have also said to you, and the reason I didn't, I think I could have said to you, please reflect back to me what you were going to. But I think the reason I didn't is because, which is funny, and I just should next time, but like I was like, oh, but you only know that because you're a coach. And so like, don't tell her to reflect back at you. But there's no reason why I can't ask for that. Like,
no, not at all.
Why can't I ask for that?
You absolutely can. Yeah.
That's a good lesson for me. Like in the next time, if I want to hear it reflected back at me, all I have to do is say, hey, Jen, actually, can you just reflect that back to me instead?
Yeah,
and
I'd like to hear it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd like to hear it. And I just didn't give myself permission in that moment because I was like, that's what she was going to do because you're a coach. And so be a client. But now in talking it out, I'm like, oh, I can ask for that if I want that in that moment for sure. So yeah.
That was one. The other moment that I interrupted was when I said, may I pause you there for a moment? Would that be okay? How did you feel about that?
Totally fine with it. Totally fine with it. I mean, totally good. And it was funny, and I was wondering where you were going to take it when you did, and you asked around the emotion in that moment, and it was good. And I was completely fine with you interrupting. It was interesting though, because it was one of those moments when I realized like that I can be completely disconnected from my like emotion, where like I'm just somebody who cries a lot. Like I cry at commercials. If the right song comes on, I cry. If I have a really good workout, I cry. If I like, I'm just somebody who cries.
If you watch Dunk and Egg, you cry.
Yeah, I cry. I just am a crier. And so like it was to be expected. And then but again, that's why I said I also really appreciated that you didn't like force there to be some deep reason that those tears were coming up, because there wasn't one for me. So
how would you have felt if I didn't ask about the emotion and just glossed over it and pretended that it wasn't present?
I think if you did that at some point, I probably would have addressed it. Like at some point, I mean, I think I was expecting it to come up. Like at some point, I was expecting it to be asked into. It was so much so that because I started to tear up early on, and I didn't know if you could tell or not. And so like I was expecting like, okay, she's gonna ask at some point because like it's coming up, but I don't know when it's gonna come up. I wonder how this is gonna be. And so I was grateful that you asked, because like it was one of those things where I knew it was going to happen. So I was happy that it did. You asked and we got to talk about it, and I got to, because there are times it is deeper. There are definitely times where those tears are coming up for a very specific reason. So I think that ask is important. And in this time, there wasn't some like deep, great, bigger reason, but there have absolutely been times that there have been. So I'm glad you asked. But I'm also glad that you like accepted my answer. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't push when you shared that it was vulnerability and you were feeling somewhat disconnected, and that was just it. Yeah.
One of the moments I appreciated you as the coach, Jen, is a moment when Brooke said, I guess, a couple of times. And what you did differently than what a lot of people would do is that you said, what assistance do you need there, or something along that line, versus getting Brooke to speak into what the I guess meant. You did it a different way.
Yes. And I actually asked a yes or no question. It wasn't open-ended. It said, is there any assistance that you need with that? And I am of the mindset that a properly placed yes or no question is appropriate. It's just in general, that's not something that typically evokes awareness. But
and it gives direction sometimes where the client wants to go. That's the time to use it. And so, yes, properly placed or
Oh, so like side note too, if we're talking about the emotion, if I'm 100% honest too, I'm disconnected from the emotion coming up on purpose. Like, and if I'm completely honest, and it is knowing that I don't want to like do that deeper dive right now in this session at this moment.
Yes.
I know I'm being vulnerable, but this is the level of vulnerable I want to be at right now in this moment. And so it may be true that there is something else there, but I'm not in a place I want to explore that. And that is why I'm grateful to Jen for not like needing to pry deeper, because all it meant is that me as a client wasn't ready to go there at this time. Yeah.
Yeah. That's really valuable.
Fair and honest. Yeah. And that's why I think it's important to believe your client when they tell you things, because there might be something there, but it just might not be the right time for them to go there. And for me, it wasn't. So, yeah. And it's not like a big thought, like I'm hiding it on purpose. Like, no, it's just like, darkness that I know can be explored, but I don't want to explore it right now in this session, knowing that it's probably going to be a longer session and more, and probably a vulnerable space that I just don't want to do right now. I don't want that
makes
falling over today.
So I feel like you fully felt supported, and your acknowledgement of the things that you said, your feelings were addressed. I feel like the coach really was responsive and really followed your her client with curiosity versus I know the answer in this space. I know what should be said or whatever. She followed your lead in that whole process. So that's maintaining presence was fully executed. Listens actively. While she didn't reflect every single word you said, she captured the moments that you were expressing that allowed you space to either expand or move to the next concept. Evokes awareness. She asked a lot of open-ended questions. She asked a lot of questions that followed your lead to open the thought process. She asked, like the one, I guess, what would it assist you here, bringing it to a different way and form of interacting with her client. Questions, I would say 95%, if not more, were open-ended, clear, simple questions, not big dissertation and then a question. It just kept it simple. And then the facilitates growth in the client, supported in several different ways, asking in, what she was taking away, what the steps were, how is she feeling, is anything left undone, concepts. I feel like the coaching session was a great flow, especially for what you wanted to bring to the table today.
All right, and with that, we will wrap up today's CLCI Live. Thank you, Jen and Brooke, for participating.
Thank you,
We'll have
Brooke.
a new
Great job.
coaching
Thank
session.
you.
We'll have a new coaching session next week, and we will also follow up with Jen and Brooke for the final coaching session. 3 weeks, 4 weeks?
It'll be 3 weeks from now.
3 weeks from now.
There'll be 2 more sessions in between before, and then we'll do our follow-up. Yeah.
We will follow up with Jen and Brooke to see
Okay.
what another session would look like as
Cool.
they continue the coaching relationship. And with that, if you want to coach just like Jen, take Coaching 101 and 102, take mentor coaching with us, do your performance evaluation with us, and become a credentialed coach. Thank you all for coming by. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment, and we will see you all next week.